So, Rabbi, can I ask you about a little bit about your history? Because I know you were in Palestine you were born in the land of Palestine, and you were there until I believe about 20 years ago, or maybe a bit less than 20.
18 years ago.
So, can you tell me why you left Palestine?
Well, I when I was already young, I joined the anti-Zionist movement because my parents always talked with me about how much injustice there is in Palestine for the Jews that came from Iraq, and I started to feel hatred to them, and I started to see, and then I spoke with my parents about the Palestinians, and my parents told me, yes, there was an ethnic cleansing here. My father-in-law, he lived in Katamon. Katamon, it's a neighborhood, Palestinian neighborhood, that was conquered by the Zionists almost right by the last few days before the ceasefire. And they were completely, they deported the Palestinians from there. It's a rich neighborhood. You have palaces there. You have beautiful houses there. And my father-in-law lives there. And he told me, he said, no, all these houses, it's a gezel. Gezel means in Jewish meant theft.
Really?
I told him, by who? So there was Palestinian used to be there. He was as a boy. He used to work with electricity. He used to go with a guy which used to be invited by the Palestinians in Katamon, because my father-in-law was born in Palestine to Syrian Jewish immigrants already that were there for 100 years before.
Okay, so they've been there a long time. Okay.
Yeah. So he used to go to the Arab neighborhoods to fix the electricity. Any Arab that used to build a house used to call them out to put all type of electricity a system in his house. So he used to tell me, I know it was a Palestinian neighborhood. It's a theft. They took it over. I told them, where else? Take a look at Lifta, by the entrance of Jerusalem. Lifta.
Oh, Lifta, yeah.
Lifta's an Arab village. Till now, you can almost smell the barbecue of the Palestinians that left after 76 years. You can see it's an Arab village. What about the castle? When you walk for the castle, you can see a mosque that turned to be a pub. They're not ashamed of themselves. These Zionists. They destroy the Palestinian people, kick them out, and
Caesarea.
Exactly.
Is that Caesarea or
no? Castle is by the entrance of Jerusalem.
I see. Because I think Caesarea has something similar, like
Caesarea. That's already upward to the north.
Yeah, but that's where my father came from.
The entrance of Palestine. That was one of the main battles that the Palestinians were heroically fighting a huge, enormous force of the Zionist terror Haganah groups. And for all months, they were stopping them till they ran out of ammunition. That was the reason they lost the war. Because they were asking from the Syrian army munition, they were refused.
Oh, really?
The Arab armies didn't supply them. They did not even the Jordanian army, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So when I joined the anti-Zionist Jews, I started in demonstrating against the Jewish injustice which the Zionists are conducting, that trying to turn us to be a secular reform liberals, and that's what they turned millions of Jews like that, and it's easy to make them turn them to be Zionists. And I was arrested many times, not for long periods, but for short periods, a week, few days. I was beaten up there. I was starved. They for 30 hours many times didn't give me food, not even water. And then I started to associate with the Palestinians, and the Palestinian issue starts to be close to my heart. And then I started to go to visit Palestinians in their villages, in Ramallah, in the Muqata'a. I was by the 3 days mourning of Sayyid Abu Ammar, alayhi salam. It was so interesting that they were respecting me so much that I was standing in the line of those people that received the mourning, Al-Azha.
You were receiving them.
Exactly. And when I went there was a Palestinian police officers escorting me with weapons. I thought there's no need. So no, not everyone knows that you're anti-Zionist. And I used to go to many places in the West Bank, in Jerusalem. I used to give interviews to Al-Quds, that's the newspaper. I used to give in Al Jazeera. But then the Zionists, the religious Zionists, the settlers started to target on me. And they're targeting any activist that do and trying to help the Palestinian cause.
Okay.
And I started to receive. I was arrested by the Zionist police. What are you doing with the Palestinian? I said, well, what? It's their land. It's not your land. You're not allowed to come back. Or here, you're not allowed to establish your land. I told it to the officer in his face. I slammed it in his face. I told him, you're not allowed to have your own country. It's not your country. It's Palestine. It belongs to them.
So how come the religious Jews who should know what the so how come they've changed their position?
So the Zionists bought off rabbis, and they just when you buy off someone, yes, you have but the Muslim world also sheikhs which have been paid off in order to distort Islam. The same thing happened by Judaism. They said you have Zionist rabbis that have been well paid off. All their expenses the Zionists are paying them. You just have to provide us, like distorted sources in the Torah, in the Talmud, or in the Bible that give us the right on this land. And they have a hard work because the 3 oaths that the Jews are not allowed to come make a mass immigration, create land in Palestine, and revolt against the Palestinians is written clearly in the Talmud. So they just said, they don't know what to say about it. I tell them, take a look. It's not your land. You're in exile. You're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to defy the Goyim. You're not allowed to the non-Jews. You're not allowed to revolt against them. And of course, you're not allowed to make ethnic cleansing and create a state here. It belongs to them. So they said, then they stop talking to you. Okay, it was a nice time to meet you. They don't talk to you. So I saw that basically there's hundreds of anti-Zionist activist Jews, that left Palestine. And one of them is me. I'm only one of hundreds. Every year, there's tens of people like me leave Palestine. They're trying to fight for justice for Palestine. But then the Zionists started to prosecute them.
Yeah. I mean, I saw in the beginning of the genocide, there was some Jews who came out and demonstrated with Palestinian flags and they beat them so badly in the streets. I remember seeing that.
But they do it when the Zionist police are making ambushes on them. When they capture someone with a Palestinian flag, they beat him up and they send him to jail. And that's what happened to me. So that's why I saw that there's no future, and I'm telling you till now, everyone knows, there's no future for anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian Jews in Palestine. So they had to leave, and I left.
So going on from that question, Rabbi, there's a question that came up a few times with people I've discussed with. Given the fact that there is many Jews who feel that Zionism is linked to Judaism, they say that it's linked. So I think 80% of American Jews, 80% of British Jews, and even more, say that they identify as Zionist, and they say that this is part of their faith. How should people view this argument, and how should it be challenged? Because ultimately, it's the two things are being shown as synonymous now. So if you start to try and do something for a pro-Palestinian cause to say we need to stop the genocide, we need to account this Zionist entity, they say, it's just because you're anti-Semitic. It's just because you're anti-Semitic and you really hate Jews. And they try to make this argument. What is the best way of challenging that?
First of all, you have to divide between Zionism and Judaism. You have to tell them that Judaism is a religion. Jews have been identified by keeping the Torah. Yes? And according to Judaism, you're not allowed to have, as I said, state, not mass immigration, not to revolt against the non-Jews in Palestine, which was the indigenous Palestinians. Now, Zionist movement, it's a secular, liberal Zionist movement that wanted to solve the problem of the Jews in exile, gather them, and tell them that the solution that every people have country, military, and a language, it should be a good solution for us. But it's not a good solution, as you see that it's bringing to bloodshed, and especially when you create a land on the head of someone who lives there already, which possess the land. That's not the Palestinians. If we show, and I talked to a lot of such Zionist Jews and tell them, listen, Jews lived with mercy, and they had a great time in exile under the Muslims. What was so wrong with this exile that you have to get out of the exile, conquer the country without any permission, kick out the Palestinians, make them your arch enemy? Tell them, the Zionist movement has no source of any evidence from the Torah. The Torah are forbidden Zionism. Zionism is a racist, nationalist, Zionist Jewish movement that has any source to be supported from the Torah. The Torah are completely forbidden. All the rabbis till the Second World War, they're saying that this movement will bring the destruction of the Jewish people. And we have to tell to the non-Jews that this movement has nothing to do with real Judaism and not with the Jewish people. So today we can see thousands of secular Jews are demonstrating for Palestine. Do you know that?
But there are many people who have started to join that call.
Yeah. Why? Because they see that something is wrong over here, that the Zionist movement, yes, had created so many problems for the Jews. They don't understand how deep is that. But according to the Torah, taking out all the Jews from exile with terror methods, as well as we mentioned that, force them into Palestine and force them to go to fight other people that the land belonged to them. That will bring an endless, relentless bloodshed as we see. The solution is to tell them, keep that. First of all, you have to keep the Torah. Take a look what's written in the Talmud, that you're not allowed to have your own state. You have to remain in exile. You have to live with peace with the non-Jews. Take a look at the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is a daily book, law book of the Jews. There it's written you have to make charity with Jews, with non-Jews. You have to visit their sick people, and you have to bury them. To give them when they die, they don't have a non-Jew cannot bury them. You have to give them a respected burial. And that's what we used to behave. It was a mutual relationship. Zionists come in and just erase the whole thing. Says, no, you don't have to have any consideration with non-Jews. You have to create your country with a police force, with a military power, expanding. Yes, and that's the only solution to exist. Take a look. So many problems. So many people were dying in the wars, and that has no end to it. And many people open their eyes. If we come and tell them that Judaism is a religion, our Jewish only can be called a Jew, not because he wore a gun and he fight the Palestinian. He's not a Jew then. If he doesn't keep Shabbat, the Saturday, he's not a Jew. Jew is considered a Jew only when he keeps the Torah, and the Torah says you have to be under the control of the Palestinian people if you want to live in Palestine as an individual.
Yeah. Are you seeing a change in people that you're discussing with?
Yes. Many people open their eyes. A big Zionist, yes, that what they see, I tell them, don't you see the mistake? Don't you see that this racist nationalist movement that created itself 130 years ago are leading the Jewish people into destruction? Don't you see that people who follow the Torah and lived peacefully, with harmony, with brotherhood with the non-Jews for thousands of years survived? And now you can see that they, with their jurisdiction on this illegal jurisdiction on Palestine, bringing the Jewish people to destruction. They're gathering the Jews, but they're controlling governments, like the United States government is completely under control of the Zionists. All the resources, natural resources, all weapons, all money that you have in America goes to finance this illegal entity that brings so much hatred on Jews, because they're trying to speak on behalf of all Jews in the world.
Yeah.
And in order that every Jew that walks in the street will be targeted, that he's at the address, he's part of the genocide, he's conducting the genocide in Gaza, the ethnic cleansing in the East Jerusalem, the ethnic cleansing and the genocide in the West Bank. By the way, they started to do what they're doing in the West Bank, in the Gaza. They would like to implement it and to adapt it into the West Bank.
Yeah.
I'm calling to the Muslim leaders, please remove your thought about benefits, about your own favors. Please be united with more states. Stand up for the rights of the Palestinians. We need a peacekeeping force, Muslim peacekeeping force. It's very easy to assemble it. The Pakistani army, the Turkish army, Algerian army, Egyptian army, they are very powerful armies. You can easily ship in 50,000 soldiers with tens of boats full of food, clean water, medicines, to save this 2.3. It's not anymore 2.3. It's only 2 million now. Because we're talking about 70,000 people that for sure were killed from bombs. How many people were killed by disease? We don't know. So many. How many people starved to death? We don't know. But so many. How many people they didn't take out from under the rubble? Tens of thousands. Why? Because the civil defense is being annihilated. They have no cranes, no bulldozers. They have to pull out people with their hands. How many people you can pull out? How can you sleep, dear Muslim leaders, at night when you see that people been annihilated? Such a good people. They did only good for Jews. I can't sleep at night because of the suffer of the Palestinians. Because people that call themselves Jews conducting the genocide, the same Holocaust that was in the Second World War, the same methods, starvation, killing people that should be deprived of medicines, no food, no clean water. That's what the Nazis did to the Jews. How can people who call themselves so-called Jews? Jews is a religion of mercy. Mercy, yes, of non-Jews, as I mentioned in the Shulchan Aruch, that people are supposed to do charity, visiting sick non-Jew people, and give them a respectable burial. I'm asking you, please, put aside all your dispute to be unified, to help the people of Gaza to be saved from annihilation, to be saved from Holocaust. It needed to be sent a peacekeeping force, kick out the Zionist terror squads from there, show them that there's not their place. It's not their place in all over Palestine. They have no right to rule in ancient Palestine. But now to save these 2 million people that left over, to save them from dying from thirst, hunger, and bombs. Please. Thank you.